So did you complete block 1? Then it's time to move on to block 2. Hey everyone, Cristin here, and yesterday we did the freedom block for our red, white, and bloom quilt. So today it's time to move on. So I'm thinking watermelon. There's snow on the ground at my house, so I'm not quite in the mood for watermelon yet, but you know who loves watermelon? My dogs love watermelon. I have 2 boxer dogs. So we're going to do the watermelon block, but there are 3 of them, so we're going to do all 3. So they are very, very, very simple blocks, and we will have our first opportunity to learn grouping and having more than one in a hoop. So let's go ahead and talk about what we need for today. So for the watermelon block, we are going to do all 3 blocks. And let's see, I didn't put them in the order. Let me do that real quick. All right, so that was easy. So 2 of them, let's talk about the main fabric. So 2 of them are the dark blue orange peel or lattice. I'm not sure what it's called, but it matches the orange peel quilting design actually. So 2 of them are going to be that. And we are going to start with these at 6.5 by 6.5. Make sure to back them with Fusible stabilizer. Like I said in yesterday's video, it's really important to at least back your main fabric to keep from puckering. I back all of my fabrics, but at least do the main fabric. So again, 2 of them of the navy blue orange peel in 6.5 by 6.5. And then one of them, the middle one, is going to be the blue star. It's like a royal blue star fabric. And again, 6.5 by 6.5 backed with Fusible stabilizer. All right, so number 1 is the navy, number 2 is the blue stars, and then number 3 is the navy orange peel again. All right, so that's our main fabric, and then we just have 1 applique piece. How easy are these going to be? So simple, and they're smaller too. So all 3 of these are the red houndstooth, and like I said, I do back mine with Fusible stabilizer. I find it makes it easier to cut the applique pieces, then you don't have all of those fraying pieces, and it just looks crisper and neat to me. So you do you, whatever works for you. So our 3 applique pieces, 1 for each block, is going to be 4 by 4. We're going to start with these at 4 by 4. It's the red houndstooth, and that's our 1 applique piece for these very simple watermelon blocks. All right, and then we have batting. So for our batting, let's see, our quilting is going to be 4 by 4. So that means that we want batting that is 5 by 5. 3 pieces, 1 for each block, of 5 by 5 batting. All right. And then our quilting today is going to be lines 1 in horizontal and in 4 by 4. 4 by 4 quilting design, lines 1 in horizontal on all 3 of the blocks. Usually they have some different, and this one is the same for all 3. So it's gonna be so simple. Oh my goodness. So I am going to take us to the computer, and I'm going to show you how to merge and join so that you don't have 30 something steps. We'll narrow it down to as little as possible, and it's a really easy one. I already looked at it today, and it's very easy. The only concern is going to be hoop size. So we'll talk about that in just a minute when we go to the computer. Hey everyone, so I'm at my computer now, and I'm going to show you a very quick and easy way to do 3 of these watermelon blocks all in one hooping. So I'm going to open Embellishment Essentials. That is the embroidery software that I use. I love it. It is just so easy to work with. So let's see, let's move this over here. All right. So if you are in the market for embroidery software, please consider purchasing Embellishment Essentials using my link. There's a link underneath this video. I'll add one up there as well. But real quick, I'll show you. You just go to Embellishments, my link specifically, embellishments.com/jam affiliates, if I can spell. /Cristin creates. And then once you're there, you very easily just click on Essentials or click on store, either one. On this left bar on the computer, it's just so simple. It's right there, and there it is. And it's on sale right now until January 23rd for $139. So a savings of a little more than like $15. That's pretty good. So anyway, right there, add to cart, and you're all good to go. All right, so we are now on Embroidery Essentials. I'm on my 10 by 10 hoop. I already tested this a little bit, and I'll tell you the 10 by 10 hoop works really well. An 8 by 12 would not fit all three because you have to remember that the quilting size is 4.5 by 4.5, so that means the total of all three would be what, 14.5. So it's, no, is that right? 12, 12, 12, and then the half, so 13.5. Sorry about that. So 13.5. So it would not fit in an 8 by 12 hoop unless you put the two together, which also you would not be able to do because that 4.5. So you would need a minimum 9 hoops. If you have a 9 by 14, that will work. I did already test it, and it's very tight in my opinion. I tried a 9 by 9 hoop, and again, it was too tight for me. I don't like it when I'm worried about my fabrics overlapping so much. I like a little bit of space. So a 10 by 10 works really well. It can be done in a 9 by 14 or a 9 by 9. But again, for me, it's too tight. If your biggest hoop is a 6 by 10 or an 8 by 12, you would just do 2 of them and then do one separately. All right, so, and that will work fine. If your biggest hoop is a 5 by 7, you would do each one. So do 1 watermelon in 1 hooping and then do 3 hoopings. And that's very easy. You can choose to do them separately. You also can choose to not use embroidery software and do this on your machine. I am not real savvy with that. I'm much more savvy with embroidery software. I can see it on my big screen and I can move it around and know that everything's lined up right. I like embroidery software much better personally. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. We're going to start by bringing in the the quilting design. So if you go here, so let me tell you, for hoop size, I'm on my 10 by 10. I can see it right down here at the bottom. If you're not on the hoop size you want, you would go to this preferences folder, click on that, and then choose the hoop that you want, and then say okay. All right. And then I always like to go to, mine's already zoomed in just right, but so it won't really show you, but I like to go to this H button on that compass. If you click H, it shows your entire hoop. So I'll show you real quick. So if I opened up my 9 by 14 hoop, there it is right there. I say okay, and you can see that I don't have all of it. I can't see the bottom or the top of the hoop. So when I go to this compass button and hit H, then it makes it so that I can see everything. I can see the whole hoop, and I just really like that. It makes it easier in my opinion. So I'm going to go back to my 10 by 10 hoop because I've already determined that that is the best one for my use. I'm going to say okay, and then I can excuse me, go to H again so that I can zoom into the whole hoop. Excuse me. All right, so merge stitch file is this button right here, and we're going to find the quilting design first. I have mine on my external drive, so let me just find that real quick here. Documents, embroidery files, quilting designs, and then lines 1. All right. And we're using the horizontal, so click on the horizontal folder. I have mine so that it only shows me Pez and it only shows me the ones that I'm using. So yours may look a little bit different. I only keep the files that I'm going to use for my machine. So you would choose the format for your machine. Mine uses Pez, and then I have them separated by horizontal and vertical just for easy use. All right, so we're looking for the 4x4 lines 1 in horizontal right there. So double click on that and it goes to the center. Now keep it in the center. This makes it a lot easier in my opinion. So we're going to go ahead, and before we do any changes to this, before we add on, before we copy and paste and have more, we're going to make some changes on this. So if you click this little plus button here, it will show you the 5 parts of the quilting. And as you know, the first one is the placement for the batting. The second one is the tack down for the batting. The third one is the placement for the main fabric. The fourth one is the tack down or the basting stitch of the main fabric. And the fifth one is the quilting design. And you can see that this is an orange design because it goes off into the seams. So I have a whole video about that, CBT versus block by block and orange versus blue. So anyway, you'll have to look that up. Very easy to find on my Cristin Creates page on YouTube. All right, so those are the five steps of the quilting. You can see that we have a default 1 blue twice, and we have a default 2 orange twice. If we left this as is, it's going to join those, and it would take away the purpose of having those batting and main fabric placement and tack down lines. So we absolutely want to make changes to this, and it's so easy. So if we click on this first one, default 1 blue, and then click on the color down here, and then I just choose the first one that comes up. It's just so easy. On mine, it is dark aqua. It doesn't matter what color it is on yours. Yours may come up to a different color, and it's fine. You can choose whatever color you want. I'm just doing the first one that comes up, and that is dark aqua. All right, so I'm going to say okay. So one thing is I have mine preferred as glide. Since we use a lot of glide in our Kimberbell projects, you just go here and choose the colors of your preferred thread. I think actually this, yeah, Filtech Glide, there it is. So thread, select a thread brand from this list, and that will change it. For this project, I think for all of them, you have to go to the settings up here. Let's see. No, maybe not. Maybe it was just through that. That was very easy then. Very simple. All right, so preferred, and you can choose select a thread brand from this list. I have mine as Filtech Glide. Okay, so first one was dark aqua. The second one, I am going to go ahead and click on the color again, and I'm going to choose the first color that comes up, because like I said, it doesn't matter what color you choose. The first one that comes up for me is Blaze, so I'm going to say okay. All right, so I'm clicking on the step here, which is 1-3, and then I click on the color down here in the Properties tab. If your Properties tab is ever missing, you would just go up here to, what is it, View. There you go, View, and then go to Toolbars and Windows, and sometimes that Properties window will go away, and you just make sure that all of these are checked so that you can see everything. All right, so back to number 3. We're going to click on the color, and the first one that we used was dark aqua, so we want to make sure to use a different color so that they will not join. So the next color is marine, so I'm going to go ahead and click on marine and say okay. And then same thing with 1-4, the default 2 orange we want to change. We already used Blaze, so I'm going to choose the next one, which is Oriole, and say okay. All right, and then the turquoise, just in case there's a turquoise later in the other design, the watermelon, I'm going to go ahead and just change it. Makes it easy. So click on the 1-5 step and click on the color, and the first color that comes up for me is Sprout, and say okay. All right, so now we have all the 5 colors changed, and you'll see also why that's important in just a moment. All right, so this one is all done. Now we want to bring in the watermelon design on top of that. So if we go to this merge stitch file, and we're going to find our watermelon design. So I have mine on my desktop in my little red, white, and bloom folder. Embroidery files. Pez is the one that I use. And I'm going to go ahead and click on the folder, and there's the watermelon right there. So I'm going to double click on that, and look, it goes right to the center. If I click on it, I can see from these little black sorry, black boxes that this design is centered. I know you like the blooper, so I'm going to leave that in for you. All right, so the black squares right there, black boxes, are showing that it is centered, because here's our center line and our center line, horizontally and vertically. So that is all centered and done and perfect. So now I want to point out to you, notice there's that default 1 blue and orange again, because that is the Kimberbell. They use that for the applique pieces. So if we hadn't changed them in our quilting, it would join with the watermelon also, and we would just be all messed up. So we don't need to change any of these because we changed them up here, and so we don't have any of the same colors. You always want to make sure and check and make sure that, like if this Desire was up here, whatever it is, the Aloe, you want to make sure that there's not more than one of them so that it does not join. All right, so these are perfect. So we have step 1 right here is the quilting, and step 2 is the watermelon design, and they are already all done and perfect. So now what we want to do, first off, what I'm going to do is I'm going to group them so that when I move it, I don't have to worry about them getting out of place. There's 2 easy ways to do it. You can click outside of the box and drag down, and that will make sure that you've got both steps, so the quilting design and the watermelon design. Or another very easy way is to click down from here and go up. And then you can see you've got both the quilting and the watermelon design highlighted and selected so that we can easily do whatever we need to do. So I'm going to go to, I don't remember if it's edit. Yep, edit, group. All right, and then notice I can take it and I can click on the quilting or click on the watermelon. They're grouped together, so they're moving together. And that just makes it easy for this part. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and move this up to the far left corner, making absolutely sure not to go over the hoop lines. All right, the hoop lines are the yellow part. And if you go over it, then it'll look okay. It might look okay while you're working on it, and then you bring it to your machine and your machine goes, I don't like you. I can't do this. So make sure that you're not going over the hoop line or your machine will say that you need to change to a bigger hoop. All right. So that one is all done, but we want 3 of these, right? So I'm going to go ahead and click on it. Make sure that you've got both selected. Since they're grouped, it's selected. And I'm going to say Control C on my keyboard to copy and then Control V to paste. And it goes right on top of the first one. So you have to click somewhere on the stitching and grab it and pull it over. And this will be grouped as well, so you don't have to worry about that. You can see, yeah. All right, so that's the second one. If I hit Control V one more time to paste another one, again, it goes right on top of the first one, and I'm going to go ahead and just drag that and pull it down here. And just because I'm a little OCD, I'm going to center it just right, using those black squares right here to make sure that it's centered. Doesn't matter, of course, but why not, right? All right, so now we have all 3 designs. You can see them. Let's close it. I'm just closing this little X, or the line, which will then turn it into the plus, so that we can see that we have the quilting, the watermelon, quilting, watermelon, quilting, watermelon. So we have all of these designs. Now, a lot of times when we do these tutorials, we need to move the watermelon or whatever the design is after the quilting to make sure it joins correctly. Because if there's anything that's different, then it will mess it up. And you want to make sure that you've got all of your quilting and then all of your watermelon or whatever embroidery design after. But I already tested it and it worked. So we're going to just make it really simple, and we'll go over that other step in a later tutorial because this one worked fine. So let's go ahead and test it anyway. So we've got our 6 designs, 3 quilting and 3 watermelon, and they are separated. You can see that they're not, I should say they're grouped. So anyway, let's go ahead and try this out. So we are going to go to Utility. Oh, let me first tell you, down here in the right-hand corner, there are 33 color steps right now. There are 33 steps. That's a lot of work, right? Especially if you're taking that hoop on and off of the machine to cut those applique pieces. Hassle. So we're going to do them all together, all at one time. Makes it so simple. So we're going to go to Utility, Color Sort. And it's going to think for a moment, and it says the design page has been reduced by 22 color changes. How cool is that? So that means we should end up with 11. So let's go ahead and click New View. So this is very important. I always check New View, like in every scenario, I always click New View just to make sure that Embrilliance did what I was thinking it should do. All right, so New View, and then what it does is it opens another tab. So we have Untitled 1. This is the one with the 6 steps that we have here, or the 6 designs, I should say. And then this Untitled 2 that it just created, everything is in one design file right there. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that plus sign, and then it'll show me all of the steps, and I'm going to quickly run through them just to make sure it did what I'm thinking it should do. So this first one is the placement for the batting, and it's there for all 3 of them. They're all grouped. It's perfect. And then number 2 is the tack down for the batting. Those are all perfect. And then the placement for the main fabric, that's all under 1-3, so that's perfect. And then 1-4 is the tack down or the basting stitch of the main fabric, so those are all perfect. And then we have the quilting design on all 3 blocks, perfect. And then we run into, this is the applique piece. It's a placement stitch for the applique of our watermelon. and those are all together. It's a little harder to see because of the color, but they're all grouped. You can tell from the box here. All right, and then number 2 is the tack down of that applique piece for our watermelon. Those are all grouped. And then we have, look at that, all of the red stitching all at once. We don't have to keep hitting the button on our machine or make any changes. That's all perfect. And then we have the rind of the watermelon, and all 3 of those are together. And then the inner part of the rind, probably a different name, I'm not sure, but those are all together and perfect. And then the seeds of the watermelon are all together. So that worked that's like the easiest grouping that I think we've ever done. So we'll try other difficult ones later in the project, I'm sure, but this one all worked out perfectly. We've got 3 watermelons all in one hoop, again, depending on your hoop size. So you could do 2 and 1 in 2 hoopings. You could do all 3 single, or you can group them all together if you've got a nice big hoop. All right, so that worked out really well. We now have 11 steps, super easy. So we want to make sure to save this, all right? And I forgot to turn my machine on. I always seem to forget to do that. So if we go to File, Stitch File As, this is the one that I use. There's also this working file. There's both stitch file and working file. What I do is the stitch file I use for pretty much everything. If there is wording, if I have added wording onto it, then I want to do a working file, because it makes it so that you can easily make changes to your BX font. If you choose a different font or you want to change a letter or whatever it is, you want to save it as a working file. We know that this one is done, so it will create a file specifically for my machine. So I'm going to go to Save Stitch File As. All right, and then I want to go to where I have the watermelon. Let's see here, where did I have that? All right, I'm just saving it to where I have my red, white, and bloom designs already. And I'm going to name it Watermelon ×3. All right, and it's got the quilting. You can name it whatever you want that you're looking for. See, here's the original 4x4 watermelon design. I want to make sure to choose the watermelon ×3 when I get to my machine. So I'm going to say save. Excuse me. Now, you would just put your USB stick in your computer and drag this file over to that, or if you have a Brother or Baby Lock, Luminaire, Solaris, people have been telling me what other machines do them, and I always forget, but there are a few machines that will make it so that you can go in Embrilliance. It does this for you. You can go to Utility, Send to Solaris XP1, and like I said, it's not just those machines. Some other machines of Brother and Baby Lock will do it as well. I heard someone say that they've done it with a different brand of machine, but I think they weren't using Embrilliance. So I'm not sure about that. But either way, I know that Embrilliance works really well with Brother and Baby Lock machines, and you can send it to some of the machines that are Wi-Fi ready. So mine's not turned on. I forgot to do that. But you would just click this Send to Solaris, and then it says File Sent to Machine, and you're all good to go. So we have it saved, and we are ready to get started on our first grouping of watermelon block. So how are you doing with your goal? I saw a bunch of people commented with their goal, and oh, they're good ones, really good ones. Shannon brought especially, oh my goodness, look in the comments. You'll have to see her goal. I loved it. It made me very happy. So my goal, like I said, my main goal is strength. And I have not had a workout yet today. I am going to wait until tonight. I'm actually crazy sore from my 3 workouts yesterday. Oh my goodness. I'm doing this. So I'm doing bike riding with my trainer that is a virtual trainer, and iFit. So I'm doing that. And then I started this strength training workout, and oh my goodness, we did these jumps and different things and like pulling your leg this way, and very, very sore. So you know it's working, right? So what did you do today for your goal? My shirt today, I love this one. It's a brand new one. I just made it. Your vibe attracts your tribe. Isn't that a great one? I love this. So if you recall in yesterday's video, I talked about how you want to surround yourself with people that help you to be at your best, right? You don't want to surround yourself with people that you don't want to emulate, right? You want to be around people that you want to be like. So your vibe attracts your tribe. I just thought it was so perfect. Really, the way that I see it is what you put out into the world is what comes back to you. So if you are good to other people, they're going to be good to you. If you're respectful and kind and have a good heart, that's what you're going to receive in this world. And I've found that to be true. So your vibe attracts your tribe, and this design is from Designs by Juju. I will add a link underneath this video. The shirt is a hoodie. You know I like hoodies, and it is from my local Fred Meyer, and it was crazy on sale. I think I got it for like $4. I was pretty happy about it, and it's even got the little thumb opening. So I thought that was a pretty fun shirt. So anyway, if only I could find these on Amazon, I could go, oh, get this. But I found it at my local shop, and I found it a while ago. So anyway, you'll have to check out this Designs by Juju design and make yourself a shirt. I want to see it.